Alrighty guys, welcome back to the G-Man Show. Today we've got a video from Chris Boy. It is titled, Can You Survive Off Centrelink? Let's see what Chris has to say. If you guys want to go and watch and support Chris, the original video is in the video description. Cheers.
And the cost of living crisis is gutting the country right now. I've done a lot of videos talking about the cost of living crisis, but I've been talking a lot about the working class. So I've been mentioning the median income, the people smack bang in the middle. But today, I want to have a look at the other end of the spectrum, not the rich end, not smack bang in the middle, but I want to have a look at the lowest class. I want to have a look at the people on Social Security and how that could be in the cost of living crisis. So the question that I have today, and you guys help me answer it, is it possible to live off Centrelink? So this
I would say you can survive off it. You won't be living. You'll be living a very stressful life trying to manage just about every cent that you get in, especially if you are on a Centrelink or some sort of government benefit and you're in the rental market. Very, very tough. Very, very tough. And I'm sure there are plenty of people in that boat because the rent would probably soak up the majority of that. So unless you can survive on air and sunlight like a plant, you're going to struggle pretty hard to survive.
question crossed my mind because me and my fiance, we're paying about $700 a week right now on rent. And I thought that's pretty expensive. So I had a look around on the market, around the area that I live, and there's not too much cheaper out there. Maybe I can find a $50 saving, but I know that on the cheaper ones, there's going to be 100 applications that come through to try get them. But even at $700, or if I found $650 or something like that, it crossed my mind that if I lost my job or I fell ill, or my partner also lost her job and she fell ill, or so we're both unemployed, if that happened, we wouldn't be able to pay for our rent off the Centrelink payments that we get through. In fact,
I think not to say most, there are a lot of people who live their life sort of hand to mouth. So you're living month to month for a long period of time when, or I'm not trying to judge anybody, but this is what happens. You're not building up a safety net, all right, when times are good. When you might be having things go your way in terms of stable employment. And obviously, previously, things weren't expensive as they are now. So, over the last probably 3 years specifically, everything's gone up just through the roof, probably 50%. So if you didn't save money in those times, which most people don't, people love the good times. They don't think about what should I do to prepare for the bad times. And you hit a hard time now, which is a lot of people. You got one expense you're not expecting to come in. You get a health issue. You get redundant from work, made redundant. You might be a great worker, but they can't afford you anymore. You got to go. Life will become dire very, very quickly. You will be in dire straits very, very quickly. And that's a lot of people, unfortunately. I sort of find interesting about people who size their life and have lifestyle creep to suck up just about every ounce, every last cent of their discretionary income. If you've got two incomes, you still should be able to save a bit of money.
I did the math and the numbers on it, and if we both got Centrelink on Job Seeker, and we're trying to pay $700 a week rent right now, it would be 85% of the payment going straight across to the landlord. So we'd have very little to be able to eat. It wouldn't be affordable. We'd actually lose the house.
Yep, landlord's bad because he or she needs to receive an income to maintain that property, to satisfy the requirements of the mortgage and interest payments, insurances, property management fees, the list goes on. Land tax. They're evil though. It should be done for free.
because we'd have to eat at some point and we'd miss rent payments, fall behind on rent, and we'd get evicted. So running through the math, including rental assistance and stuff like that, I worked out that each of us would have $60 per week to live off, and the rest of it would be going straight to rent. And $60 per week, you can't live off that. All your bills, all your food, all your expenses in life, your cost of living can't be done for $60 a week. So that's where I had the question. If I've done the numbers where I live right now, is it possible anywhere in Australia right now to live off Centrelink? So in this video, to try and answer the question, I'm going to run through a budget. I'll put a budget together and I'm going to see if it works on for pensioners, and I'm going to see if it works for the job seeker. Okay?
So I don't think the thing about Centrelink is you're not supposed to be able to live off it. It's supposed to sustain you while you're in between things. I'm not talking about people with disabilities and all that who get disability payments for life. I'm talking about people who fall on really hard times and get government assistance. It isn't supposed to be lived on. That's the whole point of it. You're not supposed to be comfortable, otherwise people will never get off it. So he's going to talk about retirees. So I know a few retirees who have the old age pension. And there is a stark difference in lifestyle if that person has been able to buy and pay down a mortgage, and if they haven't. I know people in both of those different camps there, and the outcome is incredibly different. So yes, you can survive, but it's not in existence. You are still you're someone in retirement age who is quite literally weighing up: should you get some milk or should you buy that packet of pasta? Or should you not have anything so you can make sure you can pay the bill or fill up your car with petrol? Like it isn't much of an existence if you're paying rent or still paying a mortgage. If you own your home, it's fine. It's comfortable, especially if you have been able to have some sort of build-up of superannuation. I know a lot of people in the boomer age range, super came in, halfway into their careers, or you might have had particularly women who were stay-at-home mums and didn't earn money, and they might have had divorces and now they're on pensions and trying to survive. So everyone's in a different boat, but I'm saying if you worked, you got a bit of a superannuation build-up, maybe even only a couple of $100,000, that should be able to give you a pretty good quality of life with the age pension. And you get that you draw down on your super per month, whatever amount, maybe an extra $1,000 or something. I think you could survive okay as a single pensioner.
Here's just a couple of cadences to it. So this is factoring that you do not own your own home, okay? So you have to pay rent out on the private market, and you're also not getting social housing right now. So if you're falling on hard times, you're falling sick, or you're on the pension and you've lost your place for whatever reason, and you have to go out in the private market, no support from the government with housing or anything like that, what would it look like? So for the pension right now, including the maximum rental assistance you can get, it's $1,390 per fortnight. And for the job seeker, single person, no kids or anything like that, just on job seeker getting the maximum rental assistance, I think it's $212 per fortnight. The total payment works out to pretty much $1,000 per fortnight. So I've put together a hypothetical budget here. I'm just going to read it off the screen. So groceries and household for the person, $110 per week. That's your food, laundry, liquids, whatever you need around the house, $110 per week. Your car, $70 per week. That's your fuel. That's your maintenance on the vehicle. That's your vehicle registration across the year, your insurance for the vehicle. Kind of package that all together across the year. If you average it out, it's going to be $70 a week. I've put down phone or data plan, $15 per week. So you being connected to the world, having a phone with, whether it be prepaid, whether it be a plan, whatever it might be, $15 per week, try and make it work. And I'll put down $25 per week for entertainment and leisure. So maybe it's that cup of coffee, maybe it's your Netflix subscription, maybe it's just the small little basic things, I guess, the smallest things, just so you have a minimum quality of life. $25 per week, I've put that into the budget. So the total across for the budget is $440 per fortnight. So we take that $440 per fortnight off of, say, the job seeker who's earning $1,000 per fortnight. That will leave you per week with $280 to cover rent, electricity, and water. Now,
that's looking very dire, isn't it? And that's going to the point that I was talking about. If you've got to pay rent, right? And you got to pay a mortgage or whatever it is, living expenses, even in a share house, whatever it is, and you're on sort of some sort of benefit, you're going to be having a very stressful existence there. That's for sure. But I think even the budget he put together there, that was a pretty tight budget. Like for $100 for groceries, yeah, maybe 5 years ago that got you quite a bit. If you go to Woolies or Coles, $100, you're getting a basket. Not even that. Especially if you buy any meat, like you won't be eating meat. You'll be having a low quality diet for $100 a week. You're not eating meat every day and things like that. You're going to have to maybe bulk cook, freeze it, spread it all out, really ration that out.
Now, having a look around on realestate.com, I looked at a couple of different cities. You will not get a single bedroom unit or anything like that for $280 a week, including electricity and water. Or if you do it a little bit cheaper to factor, $30 a week towards electricity and water, say $250 a week, you will not find it. So your only options, essentially, are to find room for rent, a share house. So you've got a share house, you cannot find it. If you are in the house right now, that's them numbers, go have a look at the market. You hold on to dear God to that place, all right? Because there is nothing out there. You cannot get a single unit, a single bedroom for yourself, your own space at $250 to $280 a week right now.
Absolutely, no, you can't. You can't do that anywhere. He makes a really good point there. I'm agreeing with Chris, right? A lot of my videos I might critique or challenge what he says or give a different take on it. I mean, these are the numbers, right? It is very tough to live on the benefit. As I said, is it meant to be lived on? Maybe for pensioners it is. But as I said, let's talk about the property prices. A good friend of mine recently moved down from Sydney to Melbourne, went through a divorce, all this sort of stuff. He really struggled to find a place. He's just looking for an apartment, one better, with a little bit of a decent living room and stuff like that. Kitchenette, not even a kitchen. He got a house, or a place, in a complex, right? These big complexes that are getting built up now. $650 a week. I couldn't believe it. I went and visited him. I thought he was going to say maybe $500. I'm a little bit out of touch with rentals. I thought he was going to say maybe $500, maybe $480. He's like, no, it's like $650 a week. I couldn't believe it. I didn't say anything. I was just like, wow. He's like, yeah, no, it's pretty reasonable. Like, what reasonable? It had no windows in the joint. It was shut up like a dog box. Anyway.
I just could not find it. It was all room for rent. And by the grace of God, if you do find a place that's $250 a week rent, I tell you, I'll bet my bottom dollar on it that there's going to be 100 different applications coming through for that single property. Only one person can be successful for it. Now, single person on the pension, there's a little bit more breathing room. So after you subtract out them costs, that $440, you're going to be left with, I've got the number written down here, $460 a week for your rent, your electricity, and your water. Now, that sounds a little bit better, but the one thing that's not factored in on for our pensioners, our people living out their golden years in retirement, the other cost that we need to add in is out-of-pocket medical costs. So the average out-of-pocket medical cost for our seniors, I checked it out, it was about $1,600 per year, which averages about $30 per week. So we need to take that $30 per week off the value. So 460 minus 30 is $430 per week to cover your rent, electricity, and water. So could you...
That's one of the things a lot of people don't think about as well. Like health is your wealth, right? And as you become an older person, your health expenses, if you haven't looked after yourself, or you might have looked after yourself and had a bad run of luck, bad genetics, and you start having health issues, it's going to really break you financially. It's going to cost you so much money. $30 a week, I think, would be really undercooking it. Like, I think his numbers are pretty lean here.
Find a unit or a villa or somewhere in a retirement over 50s community for $400 to $430 per week. Yeah, you probably can. You'd just be scraping in, I think. But each year that goes by, that value is going up further and further. And the last check I did on the increases to Social Security looked like about $4.60 per week. So that $4.60 per week is going to keep up with this housing market. I don't know. I don't know where they're getting the numbers from. It's not working. So it's pretty much housing. Housing is sucking up the majority of the payments. We're in a housing crisis, there's an affordability crisis, an availability crisis. There's a lot of demand for housing right now, both for people trying to buy them and for people just trying to get into one. Okay.
That's interesting because you think that people that'll be having these particular financial circumstances, right, battlers, like they're actual battlers, not people who just want to have a house and can't get in. Like I'm talking actual battlers here, hand to mouth, and not capable of earning more money. All right, they might not have the mental capability, physical capability, even be able to work. They're your true battlers, right? That's where I think Australia fails a lot of people. There isn't, like, I'm all about paying tax for that, like helping those people. I'm not talking about subsidising the life of lazy people. But for the people who really need it, to have social housing, commission housing, they've really dropped the ball there. I don't know the numbers on it, right? I'm just talking anecdotally. But there are like years and years long waiting lists to be able to even be considered for social housing. And so that's where the government fails. You just got to think where all these billions of dollars in tax revenue that they get through all the different levies and payroll taxes and just everything else. They got their fingers in everything. Why aren't there communities maybe, or why aren't there actual facilities that can house a lot of people who are battling and protect them? I know the system can't save everybody. I'm not particularly a bleeding heart, but I'll even talk about, like, even yesterday, I was in the Melbourne CBD yesterday, and it's just horrible. I was walking through the Melbourne CBD, and you're seeing all these people lying on the footpath, next to the shop fronts, in front of the 7-Elevens, and they're broken people. They're people who are never going to be able to come back from that situation. It'd be pretty hard. Like, no one's going to hire somebody like that, unfortunately. People say to homeless people, "Let's get a job." Yeah, most people aren't going to hire you if you smell badly and you have no way of being able to make yourself presentable. You may have mental health issues. Like, you're not coming back. You got these people yelling and screaming at themselves in the street, yelling at other people, being violent and belligerent. It's gone to the dogs. I mean, so many people are being failed. And I'm just saying this from, I'm not an activist, right? But I'll just walk through there and I think just seeing this shit on the ground, like when I say shit on the ground, I'm talking about the situation on the ground. It's horrible. There's definitely something broken. Something is not right.
Okay, there is a huge demand right now. So I guess when you start looking at these budgets across for it, for the single person, that's a struggle. It's struggle street. Now, if you're a couple and you're both on Centrelink, it's going to help out a little bit better. So, partner up, pair up, and maybe you can get that 1-bedroom unit and then split the rent 50-50 with each other. That seems to be the only way to do it. So a couple on the pension, they get paid close to the highest. They're paid pretty well on it. But a couple on job seeker, they can probably just scrape through on a single bedroom unit. They might be able to just get into it. But there's other problems, of course, I'll address in a different video, which could limit them being able to get into the private market in the first place. But yeah, I've tried playing with these numbers and, the numbers just keep going up. We've got inflation kicking in. Each year goes up higher and higher. Your grocery bills are going up. Your rent's going up. The payments from, for social security doesn't seem to be going up in anywhere close to comparisons for it.
That's the thing, right? And it doesn't. And so then these people drown and end up on the street, like the people I was talking about in the city of Melbourne. I'm sure it happens in all the different city centres. You'll see it everywhere. But in Melbourne, it's very, very bad. Like, put in the comments, guys, if you see this stuff. As this tide rises, more and more people, unfortunately, can't keep up with it and they get submerged. And once you're under it, it's hard to come out. It's hard to come back up.
Everything is going up. And I guess when prices keep going up like this, it's kind of like a ladder being raised. Okay, as the ladder goes up, more and more people are kind of grasping, trying to grab that bottom rung, but it just doesn't seem to be happening right now. And I think we're finding more and more and more people being left behind. So currently the wait list for social housing, which seems to be a solution, social housing provided from the government for people who can't afford the private market anymore, there's a wait list of 220,000 applications. That's huge.
There you go, right? So and that would have to probably be increasing every year as more and more people start to struggle with the cost of living. It's just going to blow out. It's just untenable. They can't even build that much accommodation that's going to be able to even to put a dent in the number of people that are suffering. I know this video wasn't so much about people suffering, it was about Centrelink. But really, most people on Centrelink have hit hard times. You get some people who are able to flaunt the system forever. Bazza and Shazza punching darts and drinking Woodstocks down at the local park or whatever. I'm not talking about them. Yeah, it's what can be done here. I don't know. I don't have a solution. My observation here is that it's very reactive, whatever's going to be done with social housing, and it's going to take a generation to fix it, even if they do focus on fixing it, which I don't think they will.
But if rent keeps going up higher and higher each year, which we've been seeing happening, so say in 5 years' time, rent's gone up another $200 per week, another 10 grand per year, and people on Social Security are barely affording it right now, if they can even afford it. Correct me in the comments, guys. Can you afford it right now? But if it goes up another 10,000 over the next 5 years, an extra $200 per week in 5 years' time, well, these payments here, even the pension couple, they can't afford that. That's too much. Okay, that's absolutely grinding it out. Let alone.
There you go. But if you're a pension couple and you've been able to work your whole life, you need to look at yourself too. I know I'm really empathising with battlers in this one because I can understand it. But if you're in the camp, if you've worked your whole life and pissed your whole money up the wall, you reap what you sow, especially when you had the best conditions for prosperity. We're not going to see those anytime soon, or probably again. So yeah, they're still battling. But there needs to be self-reflection there. That's what we don't want, people. We don't want to end up there. That's why I always talk about and rant on about budgeting and putting your money away and being smart with it, because once it's gone, that money doesn't come back. You might earn more money, but you're not getting that money back that you spent again.
Let alone the job seeker. The job seeker doesn't stand a chance in hell. And I haven't even touched around, but they're also in it. People on disabilities, people who have fallen sick, people who can't work full-time jobs or anything like that, people who need help from our government. So they're all going to be left behind. Our pensioners, people with disabilities, those fallen on hard times, all going to be left behind. The government has clearly stated time after time, and their policies reflect it, that they want housing prices to keep going up. When housing prices go up, well, rent follows in hand, doesn't it? So rent goes up as well. And if that's the...
I don't know if they want it to go up. I think it's more like they know they can't really bring it down without losing their jobs. What's going to bring down property price? You have to think about it. Property just is an insatiable demand for it in Australia. And yes, less and less people are able to afford it. But the truth of the matter is that there are many people out there who can afford it and who will pay these increased prices for it, because people, you can't really put a price on feeling secure in your life. So people will buy that dream regardless of how much it costs them. So there'll be things they could do. They can get rid of negative gearing, and they can get rid of capital gains tax discount, and they can ban foreign investment. But I don't think that's really going to do much long term, right? I think the negative gearing and the capital gains tax discount being scrapped will probably have a few percentage points downtick, but it'll just come back, and then it'll be absorbed, and then it'll be business as usual again. All right, investors will adapt to the situation, and supply will be gobbled up. There's not going to be hundreds of thousands of investment properties going onto the market because of that. That's the thing about property, and even property investors and people who even just own their homes to live in too. You'll do whatever you can to keep it. You will literally go into the red. Right, you'll go into the red big time for years on end just to hold that house. It's an interesting psychology that we have because they're so scarce. It's so hard to get one, and the barriers to entry to getting in are so high with all the transaction costs and stamp duty and competition that you face, all the bullshit, all the disappointment. People don't want, they will hold on to it. What happens when you hold on to it? The prices don't come down.
The way they want it to be, well, so be it. Let the game of monopoly continue. Let the working class keep trying to reach forward, try and grab that bottom rung of the ladder to get onto it. But as more people are left behind and can't reach that bottom rung, the government needs to start to build infrastructure to support the people being left behind. For those being left behind right now, whether because they've fallen on hard times, they've lost their job, whether they've gone past their working years, they're on a pension, they've got a limited income coming through, and they just can't keep their head above water, whether you're on a disability and you're struggling right now, whether any of them situations, you currently do not have a snowball's chance in hell in 5 to 10 years down the track if housing keeps going up, because your rent's going to...
What do you mean if it keeps going? It's going to keep going up. As depressing as that sounds for a lot of people who are already seeing a lot of despair, it is going to keep going up. Property will never come down unless there is some global catastrophe. In terms of the drivers that would bring down property, which is the interest rate is the main one, that's on its way down now. What do you think is going to happen? Another couple of cuts and 2 or 3. Property's back on the menu, boys. People are going to start buying, jumping over themselves. All of a sudden they can afford to get in now. Everyone's on the phone to their mortgage brokers, getting their finances set up. Everyone's excited, going to auctions, buying whatever they can afford. As I said, it's FOMO. Huge thing with FOMO with property in Australia. It's human nature. And unfortunately, that's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. I know it's a bit of a rant here, but when people say, oh, well, if property prices keep going up, that is where they're going. They're going up. Might be a different, trajectories, but it's going up.
Going to keep going up, and if you have not bought a house, and let's be honest guys, a bank's not going to give a loan to buy a house to a person on a pension. Anyone on Centrelink, on Job Seeker, a bank is not going to give you a loan for a house, okay? So you're always going to be renting, and if rent prices keep going up higher, you don't have a snowball's chance in the Simpson Desert of getting by unless something starts to change. We're currently at a wait list of 220,000 trying to get onto social housing, okay? There's not enough social housing. There's 120,000 people in Australia homeless currently. Homelessness is increasing in the country as that ladder gets ripped up higher and higher. Now the government...
There's going to be a lot more of it. It ain't stopping, and I hate to say it, and I think it's a horrible thing. I've never been homeless before, and I could imagine just even the thought of it would be terrible. A big, huge, a thought of hopelessness and like you're in a hole. How do you get yourself out of that hole? That's why there's so much people with mental health problems that have just broken. Like absolute rock bottom. There's going to be more of it. It's going to keep coming. And yeah, I hate saying this stuff and try to be a bit positive for you guys, but when you get onto the thing of homelessness, as I said, I was literally walking through it yesterday, just on every street, on every corner in the city, all the way up them, because I walked from end to end just about. Homeless people, crazy people everywhere. Mental health issues, screaming cops, wrestling them to the ground. Joint's a basket case.
Government, they've turned around and said, yeah, you beauty, we are going to do $10 billion and we're going to build 20,000 social houses and 10,000 low-cost rentals for frontline workers. You beauty. Okay, 20,000. That's less than 1/10 of the current wait list of people trying to get into housing. It's not enough. It's not even close to enough. The government's created this crisis, this housing crisis that we're in right now, and their actions are too little, too late. We need drastic change now. In my next video, I'm going to show you one way that we can solve the housing crisis in Australia.
How do you do that?
And it's going to be a full-blown attack on these bureaucrats, on these disgusting politicians with their snouts in the trough, just absolutely rotting the system. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to expose them, one way that we could balance the books out and create social housing across for everyone who's struggling in the country, build the infrastructure for for the next generation of this country as well, simply by shifting some funds out of their pockets.
That's not going to happen. What are you talking about? So I know what he's talking about. He's talking about that the pensions for all the public servants and former prime ministers and ministers and all that sort of shit. And they get 75% of their pay for the rest of their life once they're not in that role anymore. I actually agree with him on that. I disagree with Chris on a lot of things, or not disagree, but challenge some of his thought processes. How can you justify getting paid 75% of your wage for a job you're not doing anymore? Like we're paying alimony, we're paying maintenance support, spousal support to people who aren't working in government jobs anymore, ongoing for the rest of their lives till they cark it. That is a huge problem. I agree with him on that. All right, go and once again support Chris if you want to go and check him out without me ranting and carrying on. Thanks for watching all.